textile industry in Europe. It represents about 5% of the total world industrial production and about 8.3% of the total world trades. The employment in this industry amounts 4% of the total world industrial sectors. The importance of this industry declines in the developed countries in general aspects in the European Union for the following reasons. Still, there are about 120,000 companies working in the textile industry and garment industries, which represents about 10% of the total industrial industry. And 90% of those are of medium to small scale industries. There are more than 2.3 million workers, representing about 7.6% of the total manpower in the European Union. The annual investment exceeds 200 billion euros per annum. If you go to the world consumption of cotton related to the other fibers, we will notice that in 1965 it represents about 62.2% of the world consumption, and in 2004 it declines to 50%, that's to say down to 39.2 only in this year. The scale represents the relation between the production of all fibers, including the cotton and other man-made fibers. In relative to the cotton, it is obvious that the cotton gets only 1/3 of the amounts produced all over the world from the old textile fibers. This is the most recent European Union member list. It amounts to 23 members, with only 1 year or 2 years before it was only 15. The new members added to this union now. The new members are Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and Slovenia. So it only left about 4 members, including Turkey, which have not yet attached to the European Union. This explains the textile and garment industry in Europe. I would like to say that in order to export to Europe, we have to know the actual situation in Europe, including the production, the importing, the exporting, the labor, and the investments, and the mood of the Europeans as well. Otherwise, we can't export any 1 meter of our production, even if it is old-fashioned. This explains the total production of European countries. In fact, this curve has been prepared since few time before the membership addition of the 6 members we have said. So the maximum producing countries was Latvia, Lithuania, Slovenia, and Turkey. But after the amalgamation of the 6 European European countries, only left Bulgaria, Estonia, Romania, and Turkey, which haven't yet joined the European Union. So we have to deal with all 23 European countries according to their needs and requests. Very important item is the number of labels. In the most of the European Unions, this case says that more than 2 million and 2.5 of the laborers are concentrated in Europe, and next comes the Turkey. That's why Turkey is considered number 2 of the labor functioning and the producer of textile industry. We have to take away of that. It is one of the most important competitive of our industry. Because if it amalgamated Europe, we can't export anything afterwards. Next. This is the graphic distribution of the main imports. I mean, how the Europe absorbs textile industries products from other world manufacturers and producers. It's very obvious that from Asia, the European communities and other Eastern European countries those takes most of their production from Asia, comes to the other Middle East and European countries, comes to China, and then Turkey. It is unlikely that the African contribution in textile industry exportation to Europe is at the minimum level. The EU trades in textiles and garments. Concerning imports, it is going towards increasing and importing. At the same time, the same trend is very clear in exports. So that's to say, as they import, they export, but the ratio is the same. This thing concerns the mood of the European people. The total population of the 15 countries in Western Europe reaches about 376 million. For the whole continent, it is 600 million. The more a country is developed, and the more the part of clothing in expenditure is low. For the total European Union, this part is only 5.1%, when it is 4.4% in the United States of America. In Eastern Europe countries, the part is about 10%. This means the poorest, the more consuming of textile products. In Western Europe, I mean the most rich European countries, the part of clothing in expenditure tends to decrease, whereas the leisure, expenditure leisure, more generally the share of consumers spending developed to essential goods like food, clothing, heating, and so on, and electronics. This declines even in the poorest countries, like in Greece and in Portugal. It is impossible to imagine that this trend could change during the next year, and in most of countries this part will be about 4% in 2012, and the next curve is explaining that. If you look to the population in the European Union countries, you will see that Germany represents the most maximum assembly of population. It amounts 82 million people. Comes the United Kingdom, 59. Comes France, 52 United Kingdom. Comes France, 59. Comes Italy, 53. And Spain, 39. Then down to Luxembourg, down to 0.4 million persons. So we have to learn to which country we have to export to gain the benefit from exporting our products to the European countries. This is another item, how this European spend on the clothing. If you compare this expansion, consumer expansion of clothing and footwear, you will see that Greece, which is one of the poorest countries, they spend more, and in Finland and more Scandinavian countries, they spend little. Within the next 12 years, the trend of expenditure is obvious in their numbers. It's a very important point. I hope that somebody will explain in the last lectures and other seminars, but we are in touch with them because we supervise the exporting to European and American countries. In the last year, I mean in the last 5 or 6 years exactly, the European textile industry has been involved in labors which objectives are to reduce its ecological impact on the environment or to preserve customers' health and safety. Ecotex standard handling sponge to the manufacturers and retailers who hope to export in the countries sensitive to ecological feeling, like Germany and Scandinavia. The requirements of the Ecotex standard are defined. Most textile and clothing items are not really dangerous for human beings, but people want to be able to buy clothing, beddings, and household textiles that do not contain any way harmful substances. These test methods are intended to simulate how potentially harmful substances contained in textiles could be transmitted to the human body through skin contact, ingestion, or by inhalation. Certified textiles are divided into one of the four Ecotex product classes. Product class 1, it includes the basic articles. It's very, very sensitive. You will see later next the categories and the limits. Product class 2 involves textile comes into direct contact with the human skin, like they are lightweight shirts and terribles. Product class 3 involves textiles which do not come into prolonged contact with the skin, like the outer wear such as suits, jackets, and coats. Product class 4 includes home textiles such as carpets, cushions, tablecloths, and accessories, and mattresses. The following parameters are included in the Ecotex criteria. From the next to the chemical items, you will see how harmful could be the textile material, which includes dyes, salts, pigments, or any finishing agents. Everything has been very well studied in Germany and in Europe and became very serious and applying more stress on the exporters and importers to Europe. For example, the pH of water extract, especially for the babies and flesh. Free and emission formaldehyde, especially in the finish and resins and for special finishing like the anti-grease and anti-shrink finishes. Extractable heavy metals, very dangerous, like mercury and lead, you will see later. As well as subs, cancerogenic and allergenic. PVC plasticizers. Organic chem compounds like CBD and DBT. Pesticides and herbicides, PCB, pentachlorophene, which is used as protective for exporting raw material, whether yarns or fabrics, PCB and TCB, chlorinated organic carriers, emissions of volatile compounds, odors for plastics and packages, especially for babies, and for the plastic and rubber toys, or even accessories for the used in their clothes and toys and footwear and others. Car process of the dyed material and printed. Biocides and the flame retardant pages are regulated separately. There are four stages to get Ecotex standard certification. Number one, you have to fill the application form. Manufacturers must describe the goods to be tested and the processing stages carried out in production. The dye stops and varies and safety data sheets for the finishing chemicals. Second step is to do the testing. The survivors will check the textile against the relevant parameters of the criteria. Third step is certification itself. In order to be able to label the product with Ecotex sign, the applicant must complete a declaration of conformity and is awarded the Ecotex certificate. We succeed in that, and we see later on that about more than 30 Egyptian textile makers are very, very concerned with this, and they start to realize success in exporting to the very restricted European countries. So, it's economically very important for the European textile industry and all the foreign exporters to take into account these new factors. This is very obvious. Now we have the babies, underwear, outerwear. If you look to the next two very detailed parameters of the chemicals and harmful material, you will see that the pH of extract shouldn't exceed the range between 4 to 7.5. Water comes for the heavy metals. Not all the heavy metals are harmful. I mean, before going to heavy metals, I mean the formaldehyde should never contain any formaldehyde percentage. ND means not detected. Any material used for base should not include any formaldehyde or any finishes or any protection. For heavy metals, the antimony is the most serious. Comes the lead is only 0.2. Comes the chromium, and the most of all, the most dangerous one is mercury. Dr. Abdel Hamid can ask us, how could we measure 0.02 ppm of mercury? I do in our laboratory in Alexandria. It's very, very expensive, and you have to use the gas chromatograph and mass spectrophotometer to measure this. See how the restrictions, how the difficulties put in our way to export to Europe. Nobody can tell us. If we come to the PCP and CP and all other organic materials, we find it only 0.05 permissible for the babies underweight or outerweight. The dibutyltoluene and the dibutyltoluene only 0.5 up to 1. All the entire cups, the arsenogenic and the acrylamines and so should not be used anymore. Other things are not difficult. For saliva, what is saliva? We know that the pigmented t-shirts and base coats, they are very happy with McDonald's and this small line and this Mickey Mouse and cartoons, and they like to suck their clothes. How much they suck? They suck the pigments, they suck carbon dioxide, they suck the metal, they suck the lead, they suck the aluminium, they suck the copper, they suck the pigment, they suck the fat dyes, everything considered pigment, binding to the fabric by the binder, which is resin, as you know, including formaldehyde. They suck it in their stomachs. One by one, day by day, they got cancer. That's why it is completely forbidden. So that's why we have to prepare the saliva, which is special preparation of saliva. Besides the expiration, the same procedure for testing is doing for saliva. I mean, we soak it for not less than 6 hours in a special incubator. The other volatile material like styrene, the phenylchloride, and all this, these are mainly used for in the packing material, which includes the toys and the clothes and so on. So when you buy a new toy for your baby, you'll smell, or even piece of moquette in his room, you'll smell for at least 2 or 3 months this odor. It is completely forbidden, but it is widespread. You can't avoid it. Otherwise, you have to keep it at the roof for 3 months and then you give it to your baby. Comes to the material in direct contact with skin. It is strange that we are seeing one man and one lady. They are wearing t-shirts and a dress. In fact, they are dressing this on the skin. They have no underwear. And it is in Europe like this. Sometimes in Paris the temperature becomes 35 degrees. So they put it directly on the skin. So in this way, it is considered indirect contact skin under category class 2. And the same restrictions should be applied to this direct contact, like the gloves, the socks, and so on. Here you can note that the permission is slightly more released, slightly more easier in formaldehyde. Now the quantitative amount of formaldehyde, instead of not detected, could be permitted up to 75. The Egyptian mills, and we told them, when you finish material, when you export, you have to give the order to your mill. And the biggest mills in Israel, they know that there are 2 types of finishes. low formaldehyde meal or normal formaldehyde meal. The low formaldehyde meal can't, the low formaldehyde per product should not exceed 75. The normal could amount 300 ppm of formaldehyde. So it is very, very important. Many categories, many containers, turn back to Europe because of this. In Yemen, there are two lines, there are two concentrations, this and that. For export to Europe, they are very serious, they are very afraid of their health and their babies. So don't never exceed 75 ppm of formaldehyde in any textile product, even for, not for the babies. The antimony amounts up to 30. Now comes so you know that the ratio comes more and more, but still the mercury never exceeds 0.02 ppm. Extremely dangerous and poisonous. If we go to the still the carcinogenic and allergenic, not used, forbidden completely. The other parameters are normal. Down to the last two categories, class 3 and class 4, which include the not in direct contact with skin and the process and other covered cheese. Here you find the pH could amounts the range from 4 to 9. That means if you soak your textile material in water and touch your hands or your body, there will be no danger, but it will be outward. The formaldehyde, as I told you just few seconds before, you can reach 300 ppm of formaldehyde for an outerwear, and sometimes you may be obliged to use it in the sheets or the cushions and so on, or even in the overcoats, or for waterproof. The waterproof, of course, you should use resin to be water repellent material. Also, steel. For the category class 10 before, the mercury never exceed 0.02 ppm of the weight of the material. The other categories going the same. Also the carcinogenic and allergenic are completely forbidden. Sure, good. To facilitate this, you can use the dye stuffs with the same data sheets from respectable manufacturers like Dye Star and so which certifies that and declare that it doesn't contain any cleavable amines which can cause some carcinogenic. It affects the human cell and cause the multiple reproduction of the cell due to the cleavage between two natural groups. All the other things are the same, no problem. From our part, all these factors are well known, and we in the Textile Concession Fund, which is reflection of spinning and weaving industry in Egypt, is one of the foremost of the famous industry. It dates back to the southern fields, as you know. In 1953, the Egyptian government foresaw the necessity of reforming the spinning and weaving industry to ensure its progress and for flourishing in foreign fields of competition. Therefore, it started the Textile Concession Fund. Is an independent organization and non-profitable body. We do this for only 10 pounds and 7 pounds. In other places, you have to pay 300. To do the test in Europe, you have to pay 600 euros. The DCF main objectives are to promote the market of textile both in domestic and export markets, elaboration of technical studies, the establishment of laboratories, research institutes and training centers, to participate in conferences and meetings held by the international organizations, to publish biblical publications concerning either local or foreign economical situation of textiles, raw material, textile clothing. In fact, our statistics is the most reliable data you can collect from the internet. You can get our site easily. It is the second after Egyptex, even they take the statistics from our site. We have two centers, two technical centers. The one control center in Alexandria. It comprises up to laboratories for testing cotton, synthetic, and wool and fabrics and these products, besides the garments and finished products. The Textile Volume Center is the new technical center, which comprises pilot plant units. We have spinning, weaving, dye finishing, and garments, and we do applied research and pilot plant testing for application products for the mills. We can do on-spot processing control for the raw material, on-process control, and the final product. The labs include the fiber laboratories, the spinning laboratories, weaving laboratories, and garment laboratories, besides the color measurements laboratory, which is very important for the man-made fibers to evaluate the reliability and process of the most of the world production now comes from the man-made fibers. You know, in Alexandria, the Alexandria fiber, very big mill from Indian side, they will produce acrylic fibers and other one for Pakistan. We have to cook with them. We have the complete chemical testing laboratory. We do the chemical analysis of fibers and water cleanability and water analysis, pollutant and so on. The most important one is the environmental testing laboratory. We have number one in the Middle East environmental laboratory. Are equipped, it's very important point, our laboratories are equipped according to the European Union specification. Because we got consultants from Europe according to their request. We do the test according to their request. So when we send our results or we help any mill to get the protection from Europe, we can do research for them, and when they send the product to say BTG or Chem Institute or Einstein Institute, they will get the label within 1 month, no more, instead of 1 year. So this is our new role, and we spend about 6 million for that. This is called a good enhancement for exportation of Egyptian products to Europe. An exporter should know the categories or the customs harmonized system. You can't say silk or cotton yarn. You have to mention and to specify the heading number of the customs harmonized system or the unified system. It is now around 6 digits, but 2 digits are enough. And it is obvious from this list that every type of fiber or material or product has given a certain number which facilitates the cooperation or determination of the custom and duties and the categories. This summarizes how the Egyptian export of textile products. We can note that from 1994 down to 2003, the yarn exportation is decreasing, the cotton wool is decreasing, diminished in Europe, but increasing the belly towels, cemented and the ready-made materials. These are 99 main Egyptian manufacturers and exporters to Europe. These are the Egyptian mills are interested in the ecotics, the environmental restrictions of Europe. These come down the imports of Egypt from other countries. It is decreasing. Now, what we export to Europe? If you notice here that concerning the cotton and the blended cotton yarns, our exporting to Europe is declining very sharply since 1994 down to 2003, also 2004 I quoted. It's going down, maybe increasing very slightly in the amount and value. Concerning the cotton and blended cotton fabrics, it is declining a lot because it doesn't like any man-made fibers or dead. On the contrary of the United States. That's why they joined the quiz. Without quiz, you can't export anything, any ground to America, but the European don't like it. Lily products, as we have said before, it is increasingly from 94 to 2003, and it is good for us. Also for woven apparels, more or less it is increasing, not quite the same amount, but it is a trend. The cotton terry fabrics are well requested in Europe, besides the cotton made-ups. Very clear that the cotton mill, I mean the raw cotton fiber, completely stopped as exporting material to Europe. It was at maximum in 1995 and declines very sharply till it comes down to zero, whether to Eastern Europe or Western Europe. We have stopped exporting man-made fibers to Europe since 1996 because they don't like us. Thank you.
Thank you.